All right, so the box office top 10 this week at 12, Sirat.
I'm sorry, that still makes me laugh. Not Sirat doesn't make me laugh, but that top 10 at 12, yeah, go ahead.
Number 12. I think it's Jer in Dublin.
Okay.
As in Jerry, would that be? Do you think? Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
Dear Thud and Thud, I recently attended an afternoon showing of Sirat, and for much of the runtime shared Mark's view that its shocking turns felt unearned. That was until the deliberately flat ending revealed Lax had no intention of narratively soothing us at all. Instead, he forces both his characters and audience into a period of reflection. That's when the penny dropped for me, and I'd respectfully urge Mark to give it another go. Whether Lax deals with the terrible event midway through now feels irrelevant. I don't think he ever intended to. The film isn't intended to process trauma in a comforting way. It's about the randomness of life's horrors and our lack of control over them. What remains are brief moments of clarity, in this case embodied by the relentless rave beat and hypnotic refuge it offers those who chase it. I completely understand disengaging when the twists feel abrupt, but the technical mastery, the choreography, the immersive sound design, and the collective dread in my screening suggested to me that it had earned a second thought.
Okay, two things. Weirdly, Lasher is the pronunciation. Okay. Yeah, no, it's one of those things that took me ages to find that out. Thank you for the email. You are in the majority. Most people feel the same way that you did, and I hope that when I was reviewing it, I did give some sense of the technical achievement of the film. I mean, certainly comparing it to Wages of Fear and Valley Obscured by Clouds was intended to do that. I'm not going to watch it again because I had an email from a friend of the show who said who will remain nameless just because I haven't asked their permission to say this, who said, "I'm so glad you said that because my partner got to the end of the film and said, right, now I'm just annoyed."
Ryan in Abingdon. I was surprised when Mark said he had issues with the third act of Sirat, as I didn't think I didn't realise it had one. For me, it has two acts, then ends abruptly. This movie is a journey with no destination, which can work in some films, but didn't in this one. When the credits rolled, I found it very frustrating. As for the journey, it felt like a Top Gear special. Every time they were trying to overcome an obstacle, I was half expecting them to cut to the punishment car. Taking the tongue down with the usual. Okay, so that's Sirat, number 12. Number 10, number 5 in America, 21 Pilots, More Than We Ever Imagined. This is a concert
film of the duo 21 Pilots, of whom I am not with whom I'm not familiar. This wasn't press screen, so it was, and so I haven't seen it.
Number 9 is The Testament of Anne Lee. Holly Cruz, BA History, MA History, University of Warwick. So obviously he's a smart cookie.
Yeah.
Dear Shaking It and Quaking It. We saw The Testament of Anne Lee this weekend and loved it. It's a great example of a historical film which uses exaggeration or anachronism to help a modern audience understand what the characters are experiencing. It doesn't matter if the Shakers really dance like that or that some of the superb soundtrack features an electric guitar wailing. It created powerful mood of intensity and emotional release, which we in 2026 can fully immerse ourselves in. It's akin to A Knight's Tale, which used Queen songs and modern dialogue to show audiences what medieval people would have felt when living with their own familiar songs and language. We also experienced an extra unintentional bit of immersion at our screening. The first half of the film prominently features Manchester Cathedral, a building which is just 200 metres away. Surely you mean 0.2 of a kilometre from the View Cinema. Which,
you're never going to get over that, are you?
Which we saw Anne Lee in. After our screening, we went to the cathedral and saw their display covering the cathedral's history, including a small section on Anne herself. So that sounds like a very good way to see the film. Maybe go and see that and then see the movie, or the other way around. So that's Anne Lee at The Testament of, number 9.
I was a big fan. If you haven't heard the interview that Simon did with Mona Fastfold and Amanda Seyfried, do go back and listen to it because it was terrific hearing them talk about it. I mean, I really like the film and I think the dancing really, really, really works. But it is definitely true that it has proved divisive.
And number 8 is Pegasus 3.
So this is a Mandarin language motor racing sports comedy adventure that has become a huge hit domestically. but wasn't press screened here. If it's still in the charts, I'll see if I can see it for next week's show.
So it's Pegasus 3, Zootropolis 2. So Pegasus win by 1 goal. And
Very
Zootropolis is at number 7 and number 9 in America.
Still holding on in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what a run that film has had. I enjoyed it, but it's done really, really well.
Secret Agent is at number 6.
Which is just fantastic. And if you haven't seen it yet, go see it, because you need to see it in the cinema. It is an absolutely brilliant movie that moves between genres with fluidity and grace, and it's superb.
Crime 101 is at number 5 here, number 6 over there.
Terrific heist movie. I love a good heist movie. This is definitely a good heist movie. And I believe that we will have a conversation later on, which you flagged up before, about the correct way of responding in the cinema if you're enjoying it.
Goat is at number 4. Number 4 in America, Epic, Elvis Presley in concert. Okay, so a couple of emails. Now, this is signed Anne, I'm hoping this is roughly right, Anne Spudvillas.
Okay.
And then it says Indented Head, Australia.
Indented Head?
Yes, I was thinking, I've got no idea what's going on here. Anyway, so I Googled Indented Head, and it's a coastal township in Victoria, Australia.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
So it's a place.
Right, okay.
Not a position or anything else. So,
right,
Anne,
fine.
Thank you very much for writing from beautiful Indented Head. Bluey and Ringo, dear Bluey and Bingo, what an opening. Baz's trademark razzmatazz was all over the screen, but was restrained to bookending the film in the credits. Baz let Elvis tell his own story in Technicolor clips from Vegas, intimate footage of rehearsals where Elvis's rapport with his band and singers is beautifully captured, an historic film of his early years, which added such poignancy now that we know how the history that followed. I never wanted it to end. The color, those jumpsuits, Elvis's beautiful face in close-up, his performance, energy and humor, and the obvious respect and admiration of his fellow musicians and singers, not to mention the audience itself. The hysteria, the hairdos, the sheer size and buzz of the audience, it was transporting. I'm searching for superlatives. Suffice to say, I loved it, and I can't wait to go again. I could have stayed in the cinema all day.
Yeah, fabulous. I'm on exactly the same page.
And in Indented Head. Also, she's the sunrise swimmer and winner of a box of oil pastels for colouring in a picture of Smokey Dawson on the back of a cornflakes packet in 1960. John Penny says, Dear Not a Colonel and Not a Tom Parker.
Very good.
What a film. A touching and captivating portrait of that beautiful, talented man. He really showed what a talented musician, arranger and vocalist Elvis was. It was obviously made with such love and appreciation that it left us both delighted to have seen it and heartbroken that it all ended so soon afterwards. My only criticism of the film came during the credits. Firstly, that awful disco remix that played over them. Having just seen some of the finest drumming of ever, why switch to the robotic inanity of a drum machine, and why put it so high in the mix? Which leads me to my second criticism. Why weren't the musicians and backing singers credited? For a film in which the quality of the musicians and their interactions with Elvis is basically the whole point, it seemed like a serious omission.
Are they not credited?
I kind of thought that they were, but I can't.
I thought they were, but...
Anyway, that said, it's a joyous, uplifting spectacle, and I'm wondering whether I'll be able to see it again before it disappears from cinemas.
Okay, yes, to that point, I thought they were credited. To be honest with you, as the film was finishing, I was just so kind of overwhelmed and happy. I thought they were. You are absolutely right that they definitely should be, because the musicianship is out of this world. Yes. I mean, that's one of the best things about it. Simon, you were saying that, you saw Van Morrison playing and there was all these musicians, including Georgie Fame on keyboards, just watching him like a hawk. That is exactly what it's like. The musicianship in this, it is astonishing.
Yeah. Clearly, everybody wanted to play those shows. Yeah. Number 2 is Wuthering Heights. Mr. Earnshaw, the patriarch of the Earnshaw household, is on the show in a bit. Is there anything else you wanted to say about Wuthering Heights?
No, I mean, I think we've covered Wuthering Heights. One thing I will say is I did talk to Charles Gant, the box office maestro, the guy who really understands box office and can actually explain it. And I said to him, Charles, simply, has it done well? And the short answer is yes. Obviously, it has costs to cover, but basically, yes, it has done very well. And he compares it. I'll talk about this a little bit more in take 2, but he compares it to other literary adaptations, Bronte adaptations. Jane Austen puts it all in context. But yes, the short version is it has done well.
And number 1 is Scream 7. Ugh. Archie Andy, says to see Scream. I went to see Scream 7 tonight, and whilst it was great to see Neve back, the series should have ended with the last one. I am a fan of the franchise. I thought the last two were okay. 3 and 4 probably the weakest. There are some fun nods, callbacks, and Easter eggs, some gory kills, and great performances. No spoilers, but one cast member seemed to be having a blast. And whilst I had fun, 7 was maybe a scream too far.
Yeah, well, you figure. I mean, Neve Campbell's back because they sorted out the money, because she wasn't there in the one before because she wasn't being paid enough. And I don't think there's any way of looking at Scream 7 as anything other than an account's balance sheet. And I think it's very depressing, particularly if, like me, you are old enough to remember having done an onstage with Wes Craven and the cast when the first Scream came out, and remembering how exciting it was and how thrilling it was and how enthusiastically, Wes talked about the film. And I interviewed him a lot because he was one of those film directors who would talk about his work because he loved talking about it. So I think this is depressing.